Hey guys, it's Mr. Duffy checking in, and today we're going to use Desmos, the online graphing calculator, which is under your Schoology account. We're going to use that Desmos to find the slope of a line if we're given 2 points. Now the slope can be defined as the relationship between two quantities that change over time, or in other words, the rate of change. When we depict this rate of change in the equation, we put the equation, or we make an equation that says rise divided by run, or change in y coordinates divided by the change in x coordinates. Y coordinates tell you how far up or down the point is. X coordinates tell you how far right or left the point is. This is a lot of information to be thrown at you right away, so I'm going to show you how this has worked. I want to know what is the slope of a line passing through points -2, 1 and 2, 4. To do this, I'm going to use this equation right here, the rise divided by run. And I'm going to use Desmos. I'm going over to Desmos and I'm going to hit this tab. Under this tab, when this pops out, I can put in those 2 points, -2, 1 and 2, 4. Put a comma in between these 2 points to let them know that these are 2 points that we're working with. And there we go. I'm going to hide my list here. And then I can see that it has made my 2 points, -2, 1 and 2, 4. Next, I'm going to blow this up a little bit. And I'm going to show you what rise divided by run really means. Starting with the leftmost point. Now the leftmost point is this one over here. I'm going to see what is the slope of the line that passes through these 2 points. This is that line. And it continues on forever, just like we learned in geometry. So starting with this leftmost point, I'm going to go up or down until I'm even with the other point. In this case, I have to go up, and now I'm even. I just went up, starting with 0 as my starting point. 0, up 1, up 2, up 3. According to our little graph here, if you go up, it's going to be positive, so that's +3. So that's my rise. And I want to know what my run is. So next, starting at this same point that I ended, I have to go right or left until I hit the other point. So I'm going to go right, and I've hit that point. If I start with 0, I've gone over 1, 2, 3, 4. That is my run. Can 3 over 4 be simplified? No way, Jose. That is your slope right there. But wait, what if I started counting from the rightmost point instead of the leftmost point? Let's see how that works. So I'm going to do the same steps. I'm going to go up or down until I'm even with the other point. In this case, I have to go down. According to my little graph here, it says anytime you go down, it's going to be negative. So that's a -3 this time. And then starting here where I left off, I have to go left or right, but in this case it has to be left to hit the other point that we're working with. If I make a left arrow going left, it's going to be negative also, so that's a -4. So in this case, my rise over run would be -3 divided by -4, which is still, negative divided by negative is still 3 over 4. The slope of a line is constant, so it doesn't matter where you start and where you end. As long as you use the graph right here, you'll be fine. Equals 3 over 4. Good. Next you ask, Mr. Duffy, do I always have to count? No, you don't always have to, but I like to just to reaffirm it. But this is another way that we can find the slope between these 2 points. I'm clicking this and I'm blowing this up a little bit. Now, this point right here, -2, 1, is my first point. So I'm going to call this my x-coordinate of my first point, or x1, and my y-coordinate of my first point, or y1. Over here, I've got my second point, so I'm going to call this my x-coordinate of my second point, and my y-coordinate of my second point. If I put these into my equation, I'm going to say y2 is 4. And then we have minus y1, and that's 1. I'm going to divide that by x2 minus x1. x2 is 2, minus x1 is -2. 4 minus 1 we know is 3. 2 minus -2 is 0. Where did I go wrong? That's right, if you caught that, you are paying attention and you are remembering your negatives. When you subtract the negative, that's the same as adding. Always remember that. So these double negatives turn into a plus sign, and that is 4. 2 plus 2 is 4. Look at that, we get the exact same answer. 3/4. I'm going to come over here, reaffirm, 3 divided by 4. Now, this is up to you. Using Desmos and the slope equation, find the slope of a line passing through these following points. Two of these are going to be pretty tricky, but just a word to the wise. Remember that if your rise is equal to 0, and it doesn't matter what your run is, we can call it 1. 0 divided by anything is 0, right? But if your run is 0, doesn't matter what your rise is, doesn't matter what's on top, your answer will always be undefined. And you can confirm this by plugging this in your calculator. Alright guys, good luck and go to it. At the end of this lesson, you can play the Rags to Riches game, and I expect everybody to become millionaires by the end.